Unilateral action that could damage Anglo-Irish relations and potentially spark an EU-UK trade war. The UK government is expected to publish legislation to override parts of the Brexit trade treaty today, with the Northern Ireland Protocol at the centre of the dispute. UK Foreign Secretary Liz Truss spoke to Minister Simon Coveney by phone this morning. Coveney told his counterpart that publishing legislation that would breach the UK's commitments under international law, the Brexit Withdrawal Agreement and Northern Ireland Protocol is deeply damaging to relationships on these islands and between the UK and EU. Minister Coveney said it marks a particular low point in the UK's approach to Brexit and that far from fixing problems, this legislation will create a whole new set of uncertainties and damage relationships. The call ended after 12 minutes. Truss also spoke to EU Commission Vice President Maroš Šefčovič, saying the legislation will fix problems with the protocol and restore political stability, and that the EU must be willing to change the protocol itself. The UK government has repeatedly pointed to the protocol threatening the Good Friday Agreement as a primary reason for the unilateral action, something again repeated this morning.
We have to make this Northern Ireland Protocol work properly, because at the moment it's a serious threat to the Belfast Good Friday Agreement. So we've been trying very hard with the European Union to get them to discuss. They're refusing to even change their mandate. And so we have to basically give clarity about what the protocol means, how it should be interpreted. Only the UK can do that.
The DUP is currently blocking the return of the Stormont Assembly due to its concerns with the Northern Ireland Protocol, with today's bill publishing set to rock relations between the EU and the UK and Ireland and its nearest neighbour. Rob O'Hanrahan, Virgin Media News.
Well, let's get the latest now from government buildings and our political correspondent Gavin Riley. And Gavin, relations really have soured in this protocol row.
Very much so, Aisling. If you think about relationships between Britain and Ireland over the last 25 years, effectively post-Good Friday, you would often think of a British Foreign Secretary and an Irish Foreign Minister as being collaborators, having a close working relationship as they try to work through any issues that might arise in Northern Ireland. But we seem a long way from that kind of collaborative relationship. In fact, I'm told by one source who was briefed in that phone call this morning between Simon Coveney and Liz Truss that not only was it short, but that they said, being diplomatic, it wasn't particularly pleasant. Now, Boris Johnson this morning has been speaking on British radio, and he has tried to play down the significance of what the British government is going to propose this afternoon. They said that what they are publishing is only really a small measure, that it's not a big deal, in his words. This is what the Taoiseach Micheál Martin had to say in Cork a short time ago when that was put to him.
The British government has a tendency to big up decisions like this, and then once they announce them, to try and trivialise them. Essentially, announcing the unilateral breaching of an international agreement is pretty serious stuff, and can't be, just sort of put to one side. It's a very serious issue because it goes to the heart of the issue of trust, and the European Union needs to have a trusted partner to negotiate with.
Now, although there has been a phone call today between Simon Coveney and Liz Truss, and she has also spoken to Maroš Šefčovič, the European Commissioner's lead negotiator on post-Brexit issues, there still is some ambiguity as to what exactly is going to be contained within this bill. British government sources, and neither Irish government sources for that matter, not ruling out any kind of last-minute changes to what is being contained in this legislation, and it won't be until the middle of the afternoon before it is fully seen. And more frustratingly again for sources in the Department of Foreign Affairs, as I'm told, Liz Truss is not going to be making a speech to the House of Commons when this legislation is published. She's not going to be explaining how she believes that this could be within the scope of international law, how it doesn't fatally undermine the post-Brexit relationship between the UK and the EU, or generally how Britain sees its whole rationale playing out. That is serious frustration for the Irish government, which then finds itself flying blind, which will be able to look at the black and white of what the British government is proposing, but not fully understand the rationale for why it's doing it.
OK, Gavin, thank you very much for that. Let's get the view now from the border and how communities there are feeling about the latest developments around the British government's move on the Northern Ireland Protocol. Our news correspondent Richard Chambers is in Newry. So, Richard, what's the opinion there on how they'll be affected?
Well, Aisling, Liz Truss said that the British government's move on the Northern Ireland Protocol would restore stability. The view from businesses and people living along the border in the north of Ireland is that it would do the absolute opposite. Speaking, many business groups out this morning saying that the moves to unilaterally change parts of the Northern Ireland Protocol would damage business certainty. The manufacturing representatives here saying that this could cost some 40,000 jobs in the north, which would be worse in their view than a no-deal Brexit. They say that the cost of implementing parts of the protocol are effectively dwarfed by the benefit of extra trade with the Republic of Ireland and with the wider European Union as well. But for people living along the border, this is further uncertainty. 6 years on from the Brexit referendum, they say that they once again have been used as pawns, and that this uncertainty around the border is bringing back difficult memories for them.
People here along the border knew what the ramifications for that could be for those of us who live here, and the danger that it may go back to the old days of, you know, border roads being closed and communities being divided. So certainly people have been very worried about that. Today, and with what they're doing in Westminster, intending to do, brings all of those fears back. It's a very dangerous move. None of us know what the ramifications of this will be, what the response from the European Union will be. We're not sure where that will go. I'm sure it'll be a pretty stiff response, because after 6 years and thinking that they were negotiating in good faith for the British government to do this just seems to be so disingenuous.
Well, people here along the border also pointing to the fact that they have democratically voted in favour of the protocol. The majority of parties elected to Stormont have backed the protocol, while the DUP, which has held up the return of the Stormont Assembly, is the only outlier in that regard. They say that multiple elections and votes over the years have shown that they democratically, first of all, didn't want Brexit, and now that they want to keep the protocol to limit the damage that Brexit has caused. One such example, which is causing some concern, is about the impact of the agricultural sector if the protocol is changed. A lot of cross-border trade and a lot of cross-border milk processing happens, ingredients shipped from the north down south across the border and back again. So concern about that and how this will impact on lives and livelihoods over the weeks and months ahead.